Today we're going to do a clarity reading. So this reading can apply to any area of your life where you're experiencing any sort of discomfort or difficulty. And we're going to do a 4-card spread today. So I'm going to tell you what specifically these cards mean. And before we get to that, what I want to say is with my clarity readings, the main objective I have with them is unearthing assumptions that we're making and getting clear on the reality of things. So, it's that one. So with that being said, this 4-card spread is going to look like this. Card 1 is the assumption you're making about what the problem is, and card 2 is the assumption you're making about what the solution is. Now, we're going to do a card 3 and card 4, which I'm going to pull right now, and that's going to be the reality of the problem and the reality of the solution. So we're going to try to break through any lack of clarity, again, in terms of, because I often think like lack of clarity, there it is. Lack of clarity is usually just when we don't realize we're making assumptions. It's this one right there. And we are. So when we can break through that, that is huge. So here we have your 4 cards. My gut hit is actually to flip them all over so we can get the whole story here, and then we can kind of decode it. So with that being said, let's flip card 1. Card 1 is what you think is the problem, but what is actually not the problem. So this top row here is assumptions. The bottom row is reality. So card 1 is the moon in reverse. Oh, interesting. Card 2 is what you think is the solution, so what would provide relief or resolution, but what is actually not the solution, so the assumption. And card 2 is the Hanged Man. Now card 3 here, this is what you think is, or excuse me, this is the reality of the problem. So this is Spirit telling you this is what the actual problem is causing this difficulty or discomfort. And that is 2 of Cups in reverse. And card 4 is the reality of the solution. So this is essentially advice from Spirit. If you put energy in this direction, you're going to move towards relief and resolution. And card 4 is the Ace of Wands in reverse. Ooh, what an interesting reading. So give me a moment with these cards. They're beginning to tell me a story. I just need to sit with it for a second. Okay. Wow, this is interesting and powerful. So we're going to start with the top row here, which is, again, the assumptions that you're making about the discomfort or difficulty that you're experiencing. And before I get into that, I think let's just like take a breath, because I think it's easy for us all to feel really bad when, well, number one, when maybe we've been trying really hard to remedy a situation and it's not happening. And to just hear someone say, like, you've been making assumptions about a situation. So let's just take a breath and realize, like, that this is not any sort of personal failure. This is literally the failure of humankind. It's not a failure, but I think it's the game we're playing here, is to realize that we're all basically all day making assumptions. And I think the game of awakening, so to speak, or the process of healing is getting allowing those assumptions to go from unconscious to conscious, so we can see, because unchecked assumptions can really cloud our clarity, right? Unchecked assumptions can really destroy lives. I mean, I'm being pretty dramatic, but this is why I feel it's so powerful in these, or why I love clarity readings, because it's all about checking our unchecked assumptions. But my point in saying all that is that it's all about that, not to like point a finger at you in sort of like a scolding way. It's all about that so that you can liberate yourself more and more out of whatever difficulties and discomforts you're experiencing and move towards remedy, resolution, and relief. So with that intention in mind, the first row is assumptions. So the assumptions you have made about the problem and the assumptions you have made about the solution. So there's definitely a very ethereal vibe I'm getting from this top row. And if you look at both the cards, the moon and the hangman, so it's the moon in reverse, hangman upright, they're both major arcana. And so the way that I interpret major and minor arcana is when major arcana show up, it's like we have our free will and our choices have more of a minor impact because there's a more major plan and influence going on. When minor arcana show up, our free will and choices have more of a major impact in the trajectory of our journey. So that's how I interpret it. So with that being said, with two major arcana showing up in the assumptions row, that's telling me that you're making some sort of assumption that the solution to this problem is more like ethereal than it actually is. Because if you look down at the reality row, so this is spirit telling you what the actual problem is and what the actual solution is. They're both minor arcana. So the good news about that is that you have a lot of power in the remedy of this situation, and you may have made the assumption that you don't, that you're kind of like waiting on something, or that you have to be almost like you have to solve the problem spiritually when it's not really we'll get to the bottom row here, but the Two Cups in reverse and the Ace of Wands in reverse is telling me that's not the type of remedy that's required for this. So that's good news, because I think when we are making assumptions about major arcana and it's not actually major arcana time, we can like spiral pretty quickly, because then it's kind of like we're waiting on Mother God or the universe. Do you know what I mean? And the universe is like, hey, it's not major arcana time, it's minor arcana time. Like, do you get what I mean? But then we're like, oh my God, if I could just, be discovered, or this big call, or, my purpose could be revealed. And I'm not making fun of you. I'm actually just like making fun of myself. Because I think this is, oh my God, it's just been, life is just a wild ride, isn't it? And so my point is, I know that feeling of making the assumption that it's major arcana time when actually Mother God, the universe, source, whatever you want to, spirit, however you label that which is, and that which is bigger than each of us individually, is saying, actually, this is about your choices. Okay. So that is the brilliant news. Because I think it puts power back into your hands, where this top row is giving me a sense of powerlessness, or that's what you've been feeling. This bottom row is like a really beautiful, like, let's get down to business of what's actually wrong. And I almost feel like it's an easier tweaks than you think, because the major arcana is like, those are big, quote unquote, tweaks, right? That's big and ethereal. And when it's not that time, it's hard. But these feel, the bottom row feels like gentle tweaks can really remedy. So with all that said, the moon in reverse, this is the card. So this card one is saying this is the assumption you've made about what the problem is. So moon in reverse, I think there's like because moon upright can be like a standing in the power of mystery. It can be like the what am I trying to say? Like a good relationship with the unknown. So I'm almost wondering if you were thinking that like the problem is you don't have a good relationship with the unknown, and then the Hanged Man can be like, and I'm the only one who can set myself free. So the Hanged Man sometimes can be like sacrifices we have to make for a greater purpose. So quote unquote sacrifices. They're not like real sacrifices, but to our ego, they can feel like real sacrifices. And they can also represent like a need to have shifts in perspective. So it's almost like I'm getting this like ethereal sense, like this sense that you thought bigger changes were required, that there's some sort of like fix in the spiritual realm that needs to happen. And it has something to do with like, I'm not good with the unknown or mystery. If I would just be better at that, I could receive, I could heal. I really need to have a perspective shift. Something along those lines. So take a breath, see if that resonates. And I'm just noticing, I mean, major arcana cards in this deck typically have like a lot of black in the back, which I love. To me, it represents space. And with major arcana cards, like there's a lot that they embody to a certain extent. I mean, all tarot cards are an archetype, but there's like real archetype energy to me in major arcana. And one reason I love this deck is like I feel like they embody that. So like with each of the major arcana cards, there's this space, but then there's a lot also going on, and I feel like that's like holding the like complexity of what they each represent, with also that spaciousness that when held in, or when operating, when we're embodying these energies in a healthy way, there's that spaciousness plus that complexity. Now, with that being said, when this is in the row of assumptions for you, that space can just be kind of a black hole, almost like a hungry ghost, right? So again, I'm getting the sense that whatever difficulty or discomfort that you're experiencing, you've been having the sense that you've been putting energy in, so time, money, attention, and it's almost been like a hungry ghost. So you're like not seeing any sort of return on investment, and you're really trying. That's what I'm getting the sense, like you're making this really serious and really trying, and I think, which is like to a certain extent, kudos to you. Like you're taking your life seriously. You're taking yourself seriously. I love that. And I think that Spirit is trying to get your attention that it doesn't have to be quite so serious. It doesn't have to be quite so ethereal. And it certainly, if anything feels like a hungry ghost where the energy is going in and you're not like seeing a return, then that's something to take note of. So with that being said, let's move to the realm of reality. So what Spirit is telling you is the real problem and is the real solution. So let's just take a breath, because it's nice to know that. And look at the difference in the cards. Do you know what I mean? Like in this reading, the difference in the colors is really giving me like a joyful vibe. Don't get me wrong. I think all the cards in this deck are beautiful and have the potential to give joyful vibes, but they give me different energies depending on the reading. So in this reading, the top row is again giving me this darkness doesn't feel like beautiful space. It feels like hungry ghost. Where this, like, look at these, just as joyful, right? Beautiful, playing off the colors of the roses. And so I think there's so much potential for joy, for gentle, joyful steps in the right direction to move towards remedy. So with that being said, the Two of Cups in reverse is what Spirit is saying is the real problem, and Ace of Wands in reverse is what Spirit is saying is a real solution. So this is a very interesting message that's coming through. So Two of Cups can represent great matches. So it could be like literally a great match in terms of a romantic partner, but I think we can also generalize it much more beyond that. So just thinking of great matches in general, like, oh, this job is a great match for me at this time. This home is a great match for me at this time. This friendship, this television series even. So just like Two of Cups can represent a really great match. So there seems to be something that is not a great match for you right now. And that's why I find it so interesting that the Ace of Wands came out in reverse, because so that came out in the reality of the solution. So Two of Cups in reverse, card 3, the reality of the problem. Ace of Wands in reverse, card 4, the reality of the solution. And Ace of Wands in reverse can mean kind of just like maybe back off a little, because Ace of Wands upright can mean like passion. You're funneling passionate new beginning, like you're funneling your passion somewhere. And in this reading, it's just like, it doesn't have to be like passion in terms of like romantic passion. It just can be like your energy, your life force, right? And so there seems to be something that is not the proper match for you at this time. And Spirit is asking you to not put so much energy towards it. And that seems to be the real problem and the real solution. So whatever difficulty or discomfort you're experiencing, the strong message I'm getting is if you are willing and able to recognize what is a true match and what isn't, and when you're recognizing things, there's a dissonance, there's a incoherence, things aren't matching up, and you're willing to, instead of put more passion to it, or even the same amount, you start to back off a bit to protect your energy. That, I'm getting the strong sense, is going to be the start of moving towards remedy, moving towards resolution, moving towards relief. So take a breath on that. How does that feel? I'm just getting the sense, to finish up here, gonna draw one more card from the Divine Feminine deck, and we'll read about her to see if there's any final messages. Partly to honor the roses here. Aren't they so beautiful? They just feel really feminine and powerful. Okay, one card please, final message. Clarity for the viewer at the time they view this video. One card please. There it is. Oops, that top one. Fatima, the mother of, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to not say this correctly. And okay. Imam, I'm sorry. The mother of imams. Love is my lineage and gratitude is my religion. I do apologize for my mispronunciation of that. So let's read about Fatima. To finish up this beautiful reading, and as I say that, I really do mean that. Like, it's a beautiful reading to, oh my God, look at, I mean, it just feels like the roses, doesn't it? Wow. Okay, what was I saying? It was a beautiful reading to look at, but more than that, I just feel the beauty of who you are and your willingness to gain clarity on this situation. And I do just feel like the power in switching from this energy, the top row, to the bottom, and what that could do for you and like maybe your lineage or your legacy. Do you know what I mean? Like I do feel like it is important. You're in an important season. You're at an important juncture to a certain extent. And this discomfort and difficulty that's showing up in your life is not here to punish you. It's just here to help you get a clearer grasp on how you're going to move forward. So with that being said, let's read about Fatima. Who she is. Fatima embodies the love and fulfillment that comes from living in a state of gratitude. Fatima Muhammad was born in the early 7th century and is the only child of Qadya. Once again, I truly apologize for my pronunciations. And the Prophet Muhammad to live into adulthood. She's associated with the title, the mother of her father, because she cared for Muhammad after her mother died. She is the object of venturous love, veneration. I don't think I know what that word means. She is the object of veneration, love, and respect for all Muslims because she supported her father through all of his difficulties. Well, and isn't that interesting? Like we did a reading on difficulties. And I don't know, you just don't hear that word a lot. So I feel like that's just a validation from spirit that she sees your situation and understands what you're going through. She was a devoted wife and mother of 2 sons and 2 daughters. Her descendants are spread throughout the Islamic world. To the Shiites, she is particularly significant because she was married to Ali, the Prophet Muhammad's cousin. I don't know if it's Ali or Ali. I think it's Ali. Ali? Oh, again, I'm truly sorry. Ali is considered by Shiites to be legitimate heir to Muhammad's teachings. Fatima's many children are considered then the rightful inheritor of Islam. In Imam, I'm so sorry. And Imam is a leader of the Islamic faith, and Fatima is considered to be the mother of Imams because of the love and gratitude she gave to her family. There are many stories about her devotion and the unfaltering love she provided in order to protect them. She never failed to defend what was sacred to her. And it is said that Fatima stood up to Muhammad's successor, Abu Bakr, because she didn't feel he was honoring her father's legacy in the way that he had hoped. She lived with great stability because she knew that her love for her family gave her a solid foundation, identity, and clarity of purpose. Weird, clarity of purpose in a clarity reading. Okay, when your soul selects her card, we can get caught up in the ego's idea of who we need to become or what we need to achieve. Fatima is the grace that sweeps through our seemingly complex life and reminds us of what's solid earth to the soul, family, even if family means a few beloved friends. What matters most is the love and gratitude we bring to those who are there for us, and the love and gratitude we feel when they show up for us. Nurturing, protecting, and taking care of the ones we love is a sacred occupation. My great-grandmother, Big Margie, advised me that if I ever had children, I needed to make sure I got paid for it. I had no clue what she was talking about. The idea was so foreign to me. Big Margie believed that women should have a wage for the time they spent raising children so that their work would at last be valued. The role of housewife or stay-at-home mom is sacred if it is consciously chosen. It is a profound contribution to raise and reconstitute the world. There is a legacy of love that can be inherited by the whole family, from which undivided attention. There is a legacy of love that can be inherited by the whole family from such undivided attention and presence. Fatima restores the significance and importance to the spiritual path of motherhood. Fatima is also a call to step back, take a deep breath, and take inventory of how much you can be grateful for right now in this moment. She releases you from the unreal expectations of yourself. Whether you have mothered a child, a friend, or yourself, Fatima helps you see again the vital role the nurturer provides. She offers the perspective that says love is the family we all belong to, and gratitude is a state of wealth we get to live in. Soul voice meditation. What am I most grateful for in this moment? Intention. Love is my lineage, and gratitude is my religion. Wow, that's powerful. So I really felt that it relates to, these cards, the Two of Cups in reverse, Ace of Wands, because it's almost like in this reading, the Ace of Wands could be upright, could be thinking, or could be like representing that motherly energy. And again, you don't have to be a mother to mother. You can mother friends, you can mother yourself. So there's something about like taking note of where that's going and making sure it's only going to things that are the proper match, because that's powerful energy. That energy builds legacy. It informs lineages. And so really taking your power back, looking at where that powerful mothering energy is going. And if you don't know where to put it yet, because Two of Cups represents like matches that are the right match outside of you, but Two of Cups in reverse is maybe not the right matches outside of you, then the proper place to put that mothering energy is towards yourself right now. Put that mothering energy towards yourself for the time being until you have better matches in people and situations outside of yourself. And then you can put that beautiful, mothering, passionate energy behind those better matches. But Fatima is saying, notice the sacredness of that mothering energy, how it, again, produces lineages, produces legacy, and make sure maybe right now you're backing off from where you're putting that mothering energy outside of yourself. Turn it inward until better matches are in your reality. So I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was a pleasure to read for you today.